Distance won't be an issue. Neither the accuracy. It got there. And there's a getting around him deservedly. They should. He has arrived today. Get around him. A little bit of last year coming back for Tom McDonald.
Oh, how great was that call by the good buddy himself, Tony Leonard, who will be calling here today at Marvel Stadium. They've closed the roof, thank goodness. Western Bulldogs v Collingwood for match of the round. And that was Tom McDonald, who snagged 3 big ones. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, Jimmy. Thanks, mate.
Hey, finished the game as a forward, started the game as a forward, a bit down back. What'd you make of your game? You're at both ends of the ground.
Well, I don't think I was actually a defender. I was sort of playing as one of the highest forwards, like what some of the smaller guys did. We had quite a tall forward line in, so yeah, I was right up and down the ground yesterday.
Robbo, you there?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to ask another question. I tell you what, Tom, your interview after the game on Fox Footy, I thought you were going to drop dead in the comment about you've had a lean year, and you said, well, actually I've had a horrible year. I mean, everyone talks about owning their performance. I thought you owned it very, very well yesterday.
Well, yeah, you can't really sugarcoat it, I don't think. And everyone's been pretty quick to tell me that it's been pretty poor, so might as well own up to it. But it's I can't remember if I said it yesterday. I felt like it's been close to coming back to some good form a couple of times, and it just hasn't really clicked, a bit like the whole team. We've had some games where you think things are coming good, and it hasn't quite come. So yesterday was nice to we've had the break and reset and a lot of change for the whole footy club. So it was exciting to feel good about playing again.
Can you possibly describe, Tommy, the frustration? And when I say that, that's a simple word of your mind wanting to do things, and it's just not happening, not for 1 quarter, not for 1 week, for 10 weeks. Can you describe that frustration?
Well, I think it started at the start of the year as frustration, and then you go to the period of, well, I'm frustrated and I'm trying harder, I'm trying all these things and it's not working, and then it almost goes to self-doubt and confidence more than frustration after that. So you've had periods, and every player's had periods where they probably don't play their best footy for a month, and then you kind of get out of it and you get back to some good form. This is the longest patch I've had where, it hasn't been what you want. So, yeah, probably the last 3 to 4 weeks it goes more into, self-pity and a lack of confidence more than the frustration, and that's a really hard cycle to break. So the bye was probably what allowed me to reset and change plans and have a bit more of a individual focus and focus on getting myself playing well, and then that allows me to tip back into the team and really help the rest of the guys around me. So yeah, it's a bit of a process. Yeah. So what did you do in the bye break? Did you allow us into your world? Can you? So you, from frustration to self-doubt, self-pity, do you still keep talking to Simon Goodwin about it, or do you actually go and see a sports psychologist, or what lengths and degrees did you go to get out of this funk? Yeah, well, I talked with Simon the whole way through all year, so he's had my back and backed me in to go well, and he talks me through that, he has the same feeling. When the team's not going well, he starts to doubt himself and doubt his own coaching, and we all do it. So he's been there trying to help me through it. And the bye week was before we went away, meet with the sports science guys, meet with the sports psychologists, and meet with the coaches, and almost in all 3 phases have a concrete plan of something to work on over the bye week and something that I'll change. I didn't want to change too much because, you can't start again mid-season, but just make a couple of tweaks and almost just the thinking about it it almost gives you a kickstart just having a plan. Whether it's a good plan or not, something's better to start with. So, yeah, it was just a few little changes to my individual week of training and talking to the sports psych. So I've done a little bit, but it's probably more about seeing them every week now rather than just, checking in once a month and when things are going well. It's, ticking stuff off every week with those guys and having a plan in place for when things are going good or bad in a game.
Tom, further that, you spoke about yourself, but as a team as a whole, we've heard, from Melbourne throughout the year, you guys were coming into the season a little bit underprepared or underdone through surgeries and whatever. Do you feel like as a club you can fall into a trap of sort of listening to that and almost accepting it a little bit too much? Does that make sense what I'm asking? You can sort of start to think, we'll eventually get there, but then the season's sort of getting away from you?
Yeah, I think you can. It's this year was probably unusual with the amount of guys that did have surgery. I think it was like 17 or 18 guys out of the whole 22 had surgery. So that's an unusual number, and I think there might have been a bit of a thinking, maybe the first month might be a little bit tough until we get some guys back. But then once you get past the first month, you probably haven't got many excuses after that, and our season continued on pretty poorly for another 6 or 7 weeks after that. So it definitely doesn't excuse that. So it's not ideal, but it's been a real learning experience for us. I think we learned a lot about how this pre-season went, and guys how to get ready for the season. Even if you are a bit affected by injury or surgery in the pre-season, what do you need to change to be ready for the year? So we just see it as, whether it's the last 10 rounds of the year this year or into next year, this is a real chance to get better and kickstart ourselves for this year or next year.
Do you feel it's more a personnel thing? So like you're saying, getting blokes back fit, because you've had players in and out of the side, more so than an actual game style or the way you guys are playing? Is it just purely down to personnel being underdone or not being available?
No, we didn't change much of the game style, so I wouldn't blame that. It's probably mixing a few guys new at the club into the game style. We've almost, part of our review was just stripping the game back to some basics a little bit more last week, and that came with some coaching change and sports science change and things like that. But it was almost, let's just focus back on working on your own development and fundamentals, and then how that fits into the team structure and what you can do to help the team. So we probably took a step back, and maybe that's the way to go, to get back on track, and then try and filter in some more strategic or game plan changes as we get the basis of our game back in really good shape.
You've spoken to us about playing when you are playing poorly. What's going through your head? How, when you're in a slump like that, Tommy, how much does it affect your life? Like, do you stop reading the paper? Do you stop listening to the radio? Because people were ringing up and people were writing, what is wrong with Tom McDonald? He's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. Do you go into a cocoon? How does it affect your everyday life?
I actually turned the TV on, I think 3 weeks ago, and 10 seconds into AFL 360, I had Mark Robinson saying, I think Tom McDonald needs to spell it Casey. So I turned it off pretty quick after that. I didn't watch it again for another 3 weeks.
Follow up, Robbo. Follow up.
Yeah, well, I did. I thought you needed that confidence. When you were talking before about a player without confidence, Tom, watching you yesterday compared to watching you for most of this season, I'll be honest, for most, not all, for most of this season, you just seemed a man with purpose yesterday. The way you attacked the ball, your timing, the want, it all fell into place, and I think it was noted on the television. It might have been even Jared Healy. Did you watch on the couch as well, or did you turn that off?
No, well, to answer your first part of the question, when it wasn't going well, I avoided a fair bit of it outside of the footy club. I've got plenty of other things to do, and I try and keep myself busy. So, but it's been a part of my career for 9 or 10 years. I'm not a footy nut who watches every show, but I like to be involved and hearing about things in the game, and I'll watch you guys a couple of nights a week, or I'll watch home for an hour on the couch and stuff. But when it's going so poorly, I couldn't stand to be around it, even if it wanted to do with the footy club or with myself. It just wasn't fun, and if it's not fun, then that's when it comes out on game day, and that's probably what you're seeing. You see the difference between the passion and you're going at the ball, and you can see the body language, and it's for the whole team as well. So it does affect you all. You shouldn't let it get there, but it does, and it sucks because it's meant to be fun for us. It's meant to enjoy it. Even if you're losing, it can still be fun.
Yeah.
So it does suck the life out of you a little bit.
Well, what about, that's the media, what about the public? Do a lot of Melbourne people see you and say, come on, good luck, Tommy, come on, mate, you'll be right, etc., etc., or do you feel walking through a supermarket, whatever, when you're not playing well, sorry to keep bringing it up, mate, when you're not playing well, do you feel like the people are staring at you? I mean, does that affect you?
You get a little bit of that. It's not too bad. Most people don't have the gumption to come up and say something offensive to your face. You get quite a few on Twitter and Instagram who like to have a fair crack and see if they get a reaction. So sometimes I'll bite on that, but I try to just click block now, and I think I got rid of Twitter actually, so it's more Instagram. You get a few direct messages, but
No, it's not a great world.
That's frustrating, but it's kind of like, if they're not going to come and say it to me face, does it really matter?
Well, just one more, Jim. Sorry, Radio Craft. Radio Craft, Tommy is going to ad breaks, but I always talk
he
through.
He butchers them, to be honest.
I talk through.
He absolutely hammers them.
Watching the game yesterday, there was a lot of significant contributions. Heaps. It was a really good football team win. The performance of yourself and the performance of Jack Varney, who's also had a substandard year for Jack. The performance of you two was just enormous. Jack was back to that, I'm going to run through brick walls. And you were back to, right, I'm going to go for this mark and I'm going to clunk it. I'm going to be confident kicking it from 55 metres. How did you note Jack's performance yesterday?
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. There was a bit of lip going around and he was back talking and barking and, he had that vibe back to the way he was playing. So that was good to see. We weren't perfect. I was butchering the footy in the first half, but I felt like I was back in the game and I saw the same from Jack. There was a real intensity of the way he was moving and he had that speed and explosiveness going. So, I was really good sign for him. I'm really happy for him. There's a few other guys as well I thought had standout games, like Jay Lockhart, I reckon, had a
good player, isn't he?
On the game. Yeah, I reckon he's had good games, but hasn't hurt opposition on the scoreboard or with the footy as much. And yesterday that really come through, so I thought he had a great game.
Smith?
Tim Smith, the same. Like, his poor bloke's been bloody unlucky because he puts a good game or two together and then he's either crook, he gets a concussion or a little ankle roll and he misses the next week and then he has to come back. So fingers crossed for him. He has a good little crack at it here because he's a really handy player and he does team roles. Like, he tagged in the first half and then he ended up kicking 3 goals, 3 as well. So it's a really important game for him.
Robbo, stop asking names. We've got to let Tom go because he's had an absolutely fantastic game and we want him to keep enjoying his footy for the rest of the year. So, Tom, thanks for joining us. And, Robbo, guess who's just walked into the box? The craft master himself.
An hour late.
The coach of the craft, Daniel Harford, is in the house. He's got pants on, so it must be a special occasion. We'd love to hear from you, though, on 96900 693 or outside of Melbourne, 1332 for Nick Theodosi. Prestige Open Line.